Okay, let's unpack this. Just look around you for a second. Chances are, a domestic cat, Felis catus.
Oh, absolutely. They're everywhere.
Exactly. They're on our couches, in our social media feeds. The cat is it's a constant in human life.
From ancient history right up to today.
Right. And yet, for a creature we think we know so well, it's hiding this pretty remarkable secret about where it actually comes from.
The origin story we all think we know might not be the whole picture.
Not even close.
Yeah.
So today we've got this single, really powerful piece of genetic research. It's like a definitive DNA map.
A roadmap, yeah.
And our mission for this deep dive is simple. We're going to use this map to pinpoint the one single origin point for pretty much every pet cat in the world.
Yeah.
We're cutting through the myth to find the real genetic root.
And that DNA map is, it's doing some heavy lifting here. It basically solves a question that historians have been debating for centuries.
Like, did it happen in different places at once?
Exactly. Did people in China tame one kind of wildcat and people in Europe another? This study it clears all that guesswork away. It shows a single, consistent ancestor for the entire global domestic cat population.
Okay, that right there, that singularity, that's what I find so astonishing. We have to start there. Because you'd instinctively assume, right, that with a global animal like the cat, people all over the world would have just tamed their local wildcats.
That's the logical assumption, and it's how it worked for a lot of other animals.
Right.
If you look at livestock like cattle or even dogs, the genetics tell a very different story. You see multiple independent domestication events. Dogs, for example, have several distinct genetic roots thousands of miles apart.
So for dogs, it's more of a patchwork quilt of origins.
It's a patchwork, exactly. But the evidence we have for cats, it just screams the opposite. The data points to almost all pet cats originating from one common ancestor. One, it's not a patchwork at all. It's a unified single source story. It means that one specific group of wildcats started this whole process, and that one lineage was just so successful that it spread across the entire globe.
So it basically outcompeted any other potential domestication that might have been happening elsewhere.
It genetically overwhelmed them, yeah. That's a great way to put it. This makes the domestic cat not just a great traveler, but a genetic colonizer?
A genetic colonizer. I like that. It wasn't just an idea that spread. It was this one specific successful lineage that just took over the entire global feline gene pool.
And what's so fascinating is how resilient that lineage is. The genetic diversity within domestic cats today is remarkably shallow compared to other species.
Meaning a tabby in Tokyo is surprisingly close, genetically, to a Siamese in Seattle.
Incredibly close. They all share this one specific genetic fingerprint that leads back to that one ancestral group.
Okay, so that leads us to the next obvious question. If it's this clear, we should be able to, name names.
We can't.
What's the actual species that gave us all this?
Well, to be precise, and the source material is very clear on this, the ancestor is the African wildcat. Or, more specifically, the subspecies Felis sylvestris libica.
Libica.
Libica. You have to use the full name because Felis sylvestris is a broader group that also includes, say, the European wildcat. And they're related, but only Libica has the unique genetic markers that tie it directly to our house cats.
That distinction feels really key.
Yeah.
It wasn't just any wildcat. It was this specific type. And I have to say, when I hear African wildcat, I'm picturing something.
Well,
Wild, fierce.
yes, they are.
Yeah.
But that contrast is important. The European wildcat, for instance, is famously aggressive, very solitary, just not a good candidate for hanging around humans.
Right.
But Felis sylvestris libica tends to be a bit smaller, more slender, and this is the critical part, just less hostile. They were, kind of evolutionarily pre-adapted to tolerate living near people.
So, okay, if the species is Libica, that immediately brings up the Egypt question. For centuries, we've all been told that the Egyptians domesticated the cat. We see it in all their art.
A classic story.
Does the DNA support that? Or does it just throw that whole idea out?
That's a great question. And the data gives us a more nuanced answer. It doesn't throw the Egyptian story out completely, but it refines it.
Right.
Egypt was absolutely crucial for, let's say, developing the domestic cat. They revered them, they helped spread them across the world. But the genetic split, the actual first step in domestication, that didn't happen in Egypt.
Okay, now this is where it gets really interesting.
Yeah.
If the ancestor is Libica, but the genetic birthplace isn't Egypt, where does the DNA map point?
This is where we get really specific, geographically specific. The original population of African wildcats that started this whole journey, they were located in the Middle East.
The Middle East. Do you mean the Fertile Crescent?
The Fertile Crescent, exactly. In archaeological terms, we call it the Near East. And that location, that is not a coincidence.
No way. That ties the cat's entire history to the single biggest change in human history, the invention of agriculture.
It's directly tied to it. The start of the human-cat relationship is linked to the unique conditions in the Near East about, 10 to 12,000 years ago.
So what was it about that moment? What happened?
Well, think about it. For the first time, humans stopped being nomadic. They settled down and started farming. And that created something brand new in the ecosystem. Huge, dense stores of grain.
And grain stores mean one thing, pests.
Rodents.
Everywhere.
Exactly. Suddenly, these new human villages were like a year-round, all-you-can-eat buffet for mice and rats. And where the rodents go,
The wildcats follow, of course.
the Libica wildcats in the Near East were drawn to these settlements. The hunting was just easier there. It was an irresistible new ecological niche.
So the first step wasn't humans actively taming cats. It was the cats basically domesticating themselves because our villages offered a better deal.
That is a perfect way to put it. The cats that were more tolerant of being near humans got an evolutionary advantage. They got the easy meals.
So the skittish ones starved and the braver ones thrived and had kittens.
And they passed on those less fearful genes. It was this long, slow process of cohabitation driven by mutual benefit. We got pest control and they got dinner. And that's what allowed that one single genetic line to split off from the wild population.
This just completely reframes the whole story. It wasn't about the grandeur of the pharaohs. It was about the practical, humble need to protect a pile of wheat in Mesopotamia.
It was about economics and ecology, pure and simple. And that's what's so powerful about this for you, the listener. It moves the story from folklore into science.
Okay, all right, so let's crystallize this. Let's try to boil this all down into one, clean answer for you.
Let's do it.
We've got the 3 key facts from the genetic research. The origin of the domestic cat, Felis catus, traces back to a singular domestication event.
Right, involving one specific population of Middle Eastern African wildcat, Felis sylvestris libica.
Which first started living alongside humans in the Fertile Crescent around 10,000 years ago, all because of the agricultural revolution.
That's it. That summary is the scientifically verified story. It cuts through all the noise. It means, genetically speaking, that cat purring on your lap is a direct descendant of the first wildcat that was brave enough, or maybe just hungry enough, to wander into a human village.
It's incredibly neat, isn't it?
Yeah.
One moment in history just dictated the genetic future for all cats. But that does lead to one last kind of fascinating thought.
It does. It raises a really important question. If this subspecies, Felis sylvestris libica, lived all across North Africa and the Near East, why? Why did only the population in the Near East become the foundation for all domestic cats?
Right. Why not the ones further south in Africa or elsewhere?
Was it just the timing of agriculture? Or did that specific group of wildcats in the Fertile Crescent have some unique genetic quirk, some predisposition for tolerance that the relatives just didn't have? The incredible global success of that one single lineage, that's the final mystery.
And that is the perfect question to leave us with. The ultimate mystery of where environment meets evolution. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the true origins of our feline friends.
We hope you feel a little more informed about the history of the cat on your windowsill.
We'll catch you on the next deep dive.